Can you
Yes,
see
you're
me?
very clear.
Okay, brilliant,
Everybody,
brilliant,
I think we're
brilliant.
live. Can everyone see it?
Yay!
Everybody?
Hi, everyone.
It's
Yeah.
always like a couple minutes delay before we can see
Yes.
it. But it looks like we've got some people here. Hi, everyone. So if you are not aware, we are joined by the lovely Frances Page Media. We
Hello.
met on TikTok like, what, 3 years ago? I think both of us kind of started
Oh,
at the
yes.
same time. And you've always been so lovely. And he does wonderful, positive royal content. So if you guys want to learn about the royal family, he is the person you want to watch. So I'll make sure I have a link to his channel. He is delightful. He has a lot of information. He is a veteran. Now, you were an Irish Guard, is that correct?
I was indeed, yes.
Okay. So if you would like to introduce yourself and tell people just a little bit about your background.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Have we got anybody on? Because I can't see anybody on my side, but I presume you're able to see them, Michelle. Yes, so as Michelle introduced me, it's Francis Page and obviously media, just to spice up my channel a little bit to give it that aspect of, yes, this is where you come to get the latest that is going on in our British royals' lives. Yes, I started off as literally a student in the country here. And then one day I was sat on a bus stop, and then I see this bus driving past with a big poster. You know, the British Army is recruiting, and we are looking for people who are interested in traveling the world and do a lot of adventurous activities as you get fit and paid. And I said, I was a young lad at that time. So I said, why not? But previously, before that, obviously, growing up, we used to see all these pom pom of the British Army, the soldiers marching and wearing their tunic. And then coming down to post Princess Diana, we saw, the royal family getting very well known in the world there. And I said to myself, why not be part of this well-established organization? And what a beautiful way I can go ahead to be part of this organization by being in the British Army and being a serviceman, getting to wear that red tunic that you famously see on the streets of London during those royal events. And since then, I have never looked back. And when I signed off, I said, what can I do to keep myself, again, to keep myself within this establishment that I used to work for? And I say to myself, right, why don't you start a royal channel and just start sharing insights that are going on in the British royal family using your experience and your know-how. And that's how I started Francis Page Media. And I think I will fill in the bits and bobs right in the middle there as we go on with this show, Michelle.
That is so fascinating. So how long did you serve in the Irish Guards? How long were you in the military?
Okay, so I was in for 7 years. 7 years. It's such a long period of time to serve, especially at the time I joined the army, because this was a very difficult time for the world. As you know, in Afghanistan, things were kicking off. We just had a war. I think I joined just after the Iraq war, the Americans call it, after the Iraq war, and then the Afghanistan war started. So, and joining the army, I didn't actually know that I was going to be trained to go and fight in these wars. I
Wow.
just thought I was just joining to wear that red tunic,
Right,
look
right.
smart, yes. But then when I joined, I went on to be posted to serve on foreign missions.
Oh, wow, that's scary.
And to stay there for the 7 years, it is a bit of a challenge. But you know what? When you love what you do, that time will fly like that.
Wow. So you joined because you thought you were going to be like the people at Buckingham Palace, which is very iconic, right?
Yes,
Then
yes,
immediately you got rushed off to Afghanistan.
yes,
That's
yes,
scary. Wow.
yes. So every soldier you see standing outside of Buckingham Palace has served in some capacity in a war, or at least has gone on a foreign mission on an exercise routine, or has been trained and prepared to engage in any war should they come up. So most of the time you see them standing there and looking really tough and good at their thing. That something that leads to all of that you see standing outside on the box is the skill sets and the training and the grilling that goes on behind the scenes to polish those soldiers to the finest that they can be. And when you see these big events like the King's birthday parades, the Queen's birthday parades that we do, of course, as soldiers, most of those soldiers that you see playing a leading role in marching up and down the Horse Guards parade in London would have been soldiers who have just come back from an operation abroad. So that is like their thank you, from the
Yeah, because
government
I don't
and
think
the
people
king.
understand that, because I think tourists, especially, we have this idea that a lot of people think they're almost props, which really upsets me, right? Because when I take a selfie and I'm like, these are the King's Guards. These are military soldiers who earn that place. This is a big status moment. So all the people that we see at Buckingham Palace, these are men who have been fully trained in the military, who've already served, and you're saying have done some kind of combat mission,
Operation.
and then they get to go to stand at Buckingham Palace and guard the palace, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
exactly. And the trooping of the color is usually carried out by the foot guards or the guards regiment. Now in England, in United Kingdom, we have 5 of those: the Irish guards, the Coldstream guards, the Welsh guards, the Grenadier guards, the Scots guards, and who else have I not mentioned there? Welsh guards, if I haven't said those. Yes, so 5 guards regiments, and usually the regiment that plays a leading role on the day, and this is how you tell that regiment, it is always at the front, marching with the color. I think you see that long flag, which is the color. So the regiment that is at the front usually is a regiment that has just returned from operation from Afghanistan.
Oh, okay. So basically, it's one regiment at a time. Like
Yes,
one time will be like, how long do they stay? Is it like for a month? Is it a couple of months?
yes. So when they come back from Afghanistan, straight on it, or from operations, straight into what they call spring drills. So spring drills would be like the preparation phase of rehearsing, marching up and down, presenting arms, doing the royal salutes to prepare themselves for the event. So as soon as they are back, they have what they call an R&R, which is a resting period of around 3 to 1 month holiday, and they come back in, go onto that square. They are ripped apart with the left, right, left, right, left, right, right, turn, salute, hey, yes. So they are prepared for the big occasion, which is the King's birthday parade. Now, of course, by the time I signed off, Queen Elizabeth was still the monarch. So the only guards I did were Queen's guards. But now my friends who are still there are going on what they call King's guards because of the change in monarch that happened.
Wow. So did you ever get to meet the Queen? That's the big question. Did you ever get to meet Her Majesty the Queen?
Oh yes, I was waiting for that.
Exciting. So
I
exciting.
think I think the highlight in every serving soldiers, the highlight in their career is getting to meet the monarch. Okay, so the monarch, the king, they are very rare. they don't usually show up at regiments. They tend to have representatives at every regiment. So these would be commanding officers or the colonels in chief. So the Irish Guards at the time when I was serving, we had Prince William. So we would see Prince William very regularly. Okay, he would come down with his wife, Catherine, Princess of Wales, on battalion events like the St. Patrick's Day, which they still celebrate, as we speak, right now. So we rarely saw monarchs visit regiments until the day for the trooping of the colour. So the trooping of the colour is like the king's or the queen's birthday parade, because really there then you have the monarch inspect the guard of honor. So those were the days that we were all looking very much forward to see the queen. But for me specifically, having worked or done a number of Queen's Guards on different locations, because we know we have Buckingham Palace, we have Windsor Castle, we have St. James Palace, we have the Tower of London. These are all major royal hubs where the royals frequent. Some of them stay there. So on this one occasion, actually not one occasion, around 2 or 3 occasions, as I was posted on sentry. So sentry would be the small box where we stand there like that, and the tourists come and take pictures and all of that. Yes.
Okay.
So on this one occasion, I was posted on a sentry, which happened to be the other side of Windsor Castle. And this would be the door where the Queen exits as she takes her little dogs for a walk. Okay, she is a very proactive, yes. The Queen was a very... Yes, she was a very proactive lady, and she used to take those dogs out for a walk by herself. So on this one day, I was stood on guard on a sentry box, and there the Queen walked out, behind the garden. Of course, this is the place facing away from the public. So there's a massive square. She was coming out with her 3 dogs, and then one of the dogs decided to run and come round between my legs. And then she
was.
Yes.
They had names.
Yeah, and there she came. The Queen came to try and get the dog away from me. I said, "Come on, let the young man do his job." And so, of course, you can't look at the monarch or the royals straight in their eyes. So when you're looking at them, you're literally looking at their forehead around here. So I looked there, I'm looking at her, but here, as she tells the dogs. And she stood there looking at me saying, "I hope this dog hasn't come into your way of doing a fantastic guard." Okay. And you stood there, you can't answer back because you're not allowed to chit-chat or to open your mouth.
Even if she talks to you first, you can't say, "Yes, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, no, ma'am." You couldn't say that? I mean, because she's talking to you, right?
So you could just do a bit of nodding. Don't forget, when you stood there, you've got your bare skin, okay, and you've got the curb chain, which runs across your chin. And that curb chain is literally holding your lips in place like that. It's very tight. I don't know if you've seen a curb chain. This one here, actually, I've got chance. I've got it here. Yes. So that would be the curb chain. And you put it right here. And the bare skin has 2 hooks on either side. So you would hook this inside like that. Okay.
Wow.
And it's pulling you very tight. And you're looking up like, okay. So you would not sort of be able to have a normal conversation because of how tight-lipped you are with this piece of equipment.
And they don't want you to talk, do they? When you're standing at attention, you're not supposed to move, right? You're supposed to that's kind of the thing, right?
If you make a mistake of moving, they say, "Stand still." You can't fidget, you can't do nothing. You're supposed to act professionally. So it is very, very important, actually, that before you show up on guard, you make sure that you put everything you need to sort out away. Make sure you check yourself, you're dressing correctly, your boots are done, because you're not going to be putting your weapon in the middle of guard and do the bolts or drop your batons, or you just turn up to do the job. So on that very day, the Queen came round and was sort of having a bit of a quick conversation, but it was mainly to do with, I hope this dog has not come into your way of performing a beautiful guard, well done. And then she walked away. Very, very beautiful lady. I think everybody should meet that lady. Because even if you don't talk to her, the fact that she's standing there and talking to you was so great. I still have, memories of her voice in my head all the time.
Yeah, it's like a moment you'll never forget in your life, right? It's one of those moments that will always stick with you. That's
It will.
so amazing. And unfortunately, our beautiful queen has passed. So you're one of the few, who had that encounter, because now people will never be able to experience that. Now we have King Charles. Have you had any encounters with King Charles?
Okay, so King Charles, yes, so the encounter I had with King Charles was when he was still the Prince of Wales. Okay, so, and I did the guard of honor, of course, at St. James Palace. As you know, this is where the king now lives, and he used to live there even way before he became the king. He loves St. James Palace. He's been living there for the last 20 years. Buckingham Palace was renovated, made ready for him to move in, but he said, no, 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 this is where I want to stay. So he was living there with Camilla, and while we did the St. James Guard, we could see him pop around the guard room sometimes to pick up a mail or to drop off a letter, because we have a guard room right inside St. James Palace. This is where we sit after we have come off guard, just to relax. And at the back of the guard room was a little TV area, and we used to sit there and watch Simpsons, which was
a mental break, right? From having to be so stiff, you just wanted to watch The Simpsons.
Yeah, Simpsons, which is an American cartoon, I think.
Right.
Yeah, so we would all sit there very quiet and we see Simpson going on. And as you sat there, you see him come round and bring a post or a mail and leave it on the table. Or you would see him speak and say, have the boys got something to drink? So you would see him like sporadically, and he goes.
Right.
Yeah, yes. But I have never actually have an encounter where I stood there and talked to him for a long time. Yeah, but we could see him, and sometimes you would hear him talking in the walls of St. James Palace, because there are so many rooms in there.
Yeah,
right,
I just can imagine what it would look like in the inside. How cool.
Oh, those places are lovely. It's like another world going on in there.
Right.
Yes, so right from the PR department where all the communications goes through. By the way, William and Kate's communication was still run via St. James Palace, although it comes as, Kensington Palace, but most of it was run through St. James. So we have all those PR departments in there. We have the kitchen, or the cooking, dinners, all of that taking place in there. We had gyms, saunas, everything in there. And then we had conference rooms. Yeah.
Did you guys live in the quarters too, or no? It was just like a job and then you went home. People didn't like the barracks there.
Okay, so we used to come there for work. So when you like handpicked or chosen to do a weekend Queen's Guard, they would place you under different locations. So this weekend you could be placed at Buckingham Palace. Another weekend your regiment could be placed at the Tower of London. And then one weekend you could see yourself working at St. James Palace, where King Charles lived and still lives now. But we were all residing at our barracks, or our army sort of headquarters. So the Irish Guards were based in Victoria Barracks, which was down in Windsor. So on the day you're going to do a Buckingham Palace Guard or St. James Palace Guard, the coaches, these long cars, vehicles would come very early in the morning at 5 a.m. So you all wake up and you jump onto the coaches, and they drive down to London before traffic gets the better reviews, and you arrive at there is a place called Wellington Barracks. Wellington Barracks is where all the regiments would meet and prepare for the King's Birthday Parade, but also form up to go and do the different guards at the different palaces within London on a given day. Yeah. So the coaches would take us to St. James Palace in the morning. We arrive there for about 6 o'clock in the morning. We put our kit off. We train. We do a bit of rehearsing on the square. Left, right, right, turn. Hey, stand still. They shout at you. They beast you up and down. Sometimes you do have some senior royals come to watch the rehearsal.
I'm sorry, did you used to hear that in your sleep? Did you used to hear those commands in your sleep sometimes? Left, right, left, right.
Left, right, yeah. Even up to now, sometimes when you're watching the processions on TV, the King's Birthday parades, and so you see them marching and you sort of know the right instruction that is coming up next. And so within here, sat in my sofa, I prepare myself for the next move. Is it right? Woo. Then you salute. Lovely.
You'll always be a soldier. You'll always be a soldier. You had a very interesting question, and I was thinking this myself. So I know the beef eaters, right? They live at the Tower of London. I've heard that people have apartments at the Tower of London. Have you ever worked with the beef eaters? And they say that it's haunted. So Tegan wants to know, Frances. She says, Frances, my father-in-law brother saw a ghost of a bear at St. James's Palace. Have you ever seen any ghosts?
Lucky enough, I haven't seen that. I've never seen that. However, we used to see people say that. But most of the time, some of these things were said to scare people from getting to certain places within the palaces. Okay, they were like myths that were there. They've been there tons and times of time, like at the Tower of London. This is where they say most of those ghosts were popping up. Right. There is one that used Buckingham Palace is known to be haunted in some areas of the palace. And some of the soldiers would feel scared to go into those rooms, especially in the dark at certain times. But it's just a belief that, okay, yes, they say that the more you believe in it, the more you start seeing things that look like what they said. Right. So, but personally, I've never seen any ghosts at any of the royal residences or palaces.
Yeah, especially like London, just the amount of history. And I believe there was like some kind of zoo. And so she said that they saw a ghost of a bear. And there's a person on TikTok I used to follow. Her father is a beef eater. I think that's the term. And they live in the Tower of London. And she talks about how it's haunted. Because I guess they converted part of it or a building into these apartments for the beef eaters. And I thought, how amazing to live in such a historic place. But it would creep me out about possible ghosts, because I'm one of those people, I'm a scaredy cat. And I was thinking, Halloween, we should do some royal scary stories, right? But you're hanging around these beautiful, majestic buildings that have centuries of history. So how cool is it that you got to experience that and you got to meet our royal family? Did you ever meet Prince Philip?
Okay, so Prince Philip on one occasion, yes, at Wellington Barracks. And so he kind of came round. He wanted to speak to one of the regimental sergeant major at Wellington Barracks. This was one time ago. And so everybody sort of said, Prince Philip is on site. Usually when they are on site, everybody rushes back to their stations and gets to do what they are doing. Because if you're seen loitering or lingering around, you will find yourself on a barrack guard while your friends have gone away for the weekend.
Right.
So yes, so that one moment, so he walked in, went into the guard room. He was very subtle. He would come in and notice, and go away. But I haven't met him, like speak to him and him standing there about 20 meters, 30 meters away from me. No, but you sort of see him. And also during the the Queen's Guards obviously do the Queen's birthday parades. I think this was 2011, 12. We did the Queen's birthday parade. And obviously, when you're marching past, with your weapons, especially the slow march, because with the slow march, you sort of, you can get proper eyes on, you know what I mean, when you're marching
Right,
past the
right.
royals.
Seeing you, and I think Prince Philip would be very keen to be watching your marching.
Yeah, so the slow march on that Horse Guards parade. You know the little tent that they build on the Horse Guards parade, where you see the king or the queen, where they sit, or stand or sit on the horse as we march past during the marching ceremony. So we all regiments would march past in quick and slow march. So the quick march obviously is so intense. So you're just enjoying the music, but you see them from the eyes, the
Right,
corners of the
right.
eyes. So even when you do the salute to the right and you're looking in to see them as you march past, you kind of see them, but not very well, because you're at the same time you're trying to keep your steps right marching past. But I saw them very clearly during the slow march, which is like, I guess you know what a slow march is. So for the slow march, you kind of get a good eyes on, and so sometimes you see them nodding back and all of that sort of thing. But I
Right.
saw these royals in at least some capacity during the time I served, including Princess Anne,
Oh, I love
Prince
Princess Anne.
Prince Edward, and Sophie. These were royals. The Buckingham Palace garden parties.
Oh,
These.
okay. So you got to be
Okay,
there, yeah.
so we as the guards sometimes are picked to go and do some activities in the background during those big garden parties, serving guests, and of course you would see all of these senior royals, walking amongst the guests and saying hi. And sometimes you'd be there picking bottles and putting them where they should be. And you see,
Oh,
ooh,
I see.
you bump into Princess Anne, she walks past. This is our outfit we used to wear for those occasions.
Oh, nice.
So this one here, as you can see, can you read that, Roberta?
Yes, Irish Guard.
Irish Guard. So this is the outfit you would wear on activities like Buckingham Palace garden parties.
Mhm.
And sometimes you would wear these on, don't know why it's going off the camera. Yeah, and sometimes you would wear these for ceremonial duties, like, when one of your comrades passes away or has been shot dead. Like we used to have a lot of this during war, so we would wear this number 2 dress. We call it the number 2 dress. So we wear this on those occasions and go and support the families that have lost those comrades, and do a bit of background activity during the funeral. I've attended a few of those in my military career, and those were very, very sad moments that I remember up to now.
Oh, yeah, those are very sad times. A lot of people were lost during that time. So you said
Yes.
that you met Prince William and Catherine. Now, Catherine, isn't she the patron of the Irish Guards? Am I correct?
Yes,
That,
you're very correct.
yeah.
So she takes over from Prince William, because
Mhm.
Prince William used to be the patron of the Irish Guards. But when I think most recently the Welsh Guards needed somebody, so Prince William was, when he became the Prince of Wales, he automatically becomes the Colonel in Chief of the Welsh Guards. So Prince William had to be moved across to the Welsh Guards to become their Colonel in Chief. And then William's wife, Catherine, Princess of Wales, assumed the position of the Colonel in Chief for the Irish Guards, which used to belong to Prince William. But I met Prince William and Catherine, especially those two, very many times. We used to have a pint in the guard room at the
Oh my
barracks in
gosh.
Aldershot. Yes, Guinness
Yes, Guinness. Huh?
is the traditional drink for the Irish
Oh, I didn't know
Guards.
that.
Yes, so we on St. Patrick's Day, which is a day celebrated by the Irish. We sort of toss a glass of Guinness, and so you would actually see on so many occasions Prince William and Catherine holding the glass
Right.
of Guinness. Yes, so we used to toss that quite a lot. They used to come in the guard room and ask us how the marching has been, because we do some sort of celebration at the barracks where we march past. William and Kate come and give us the shamrocks, you know, the little flowers.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you would be stood there, and Catherine is putting the flower on your
Oh my
unit,
gosh.
on
I'm
your
sure it's
tunic. Yeah. So she
lovely.
stood there. You're literally within how many centimeters, and you're looking and you're seeing her. She's putting the shamrock there, and she goes next to the soldier. I mean, stood next to you, does the same thing to all of you on forming
Right.
up on parade on that day. So we used to do a lot of that, and those events helped us to get very close to William and Kate.
Mhm.
And the other big opportunity we had to really spend some good time with William was the royal wedding. Now, I
Okay.
don't know if you know that I did the royal wedding for the Irish Guards.
For Kate and William?
Yes, for William and Kate, yes.
Wow. That
So
must have been a really fun event.
I was part of the 50-man team that was selected to do the Guard of Honor for William and Kate on their
Oh,
wedding, April 29th,
yes.
2011.
Yes.
And I have this photo here. This photo was taken on the day of the royal wedding. All of us had formed up in front of Wellington Barracks before we marched to Buckingham Palace to go and form up in front for the fly past on the day of the wedding. And I don't think you can see me, but I'm here, right behind. Okay. So can you see that, Michelle?
I put it up to the camera a little bit, like just more like yeah, over to there we go. Up a little bit. Okay, we can kind of see you in the back. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
your green light. Yeah,
Yeah.
an awesome memory.
So that that photograph there was taken on the day of the royal wedding, and it was really great to be part of the team that went there to do the guard of honor. And these are memories that are going to stay with everybody who took part in that
right.
occasion. Yes.
What was the energy like? I'm sure the crowd was just happy and positive,
The
joyful.
crowd very joyful. I've never seen the country very excited than they were on that day. I've never seen the country come together as they did on the day William and Catherine got married. And they worked so hard on the days leading up to their wedding, because I remember spending sleepless nights doing rehearsals, some of which these two actually took part in. Okay, so we could form up right behind them, and we are marching, and they are being driven in their carriage in the middle of the night, 4 a.m. in the morning, and these are there. These royals work so hard. What you see here on cameras and on TV and whatever is finished work. We see all the behind the scenes of them getting ready, and there is nothing that you see on the family on the TV and the media that is not rehearsed. We rehearse these movements right from the way they form up during the garden parties, Buckingham Palace and all these garden parties, Holyrood, to how they form up in front of us during the King's and Queen's birthday parades. They are always part of the rehearsals. They come in at 3 a.m. in the night. London is all on lockdown during those rehearsals. The mall right in front of Buckingham Palace is all free and demarcated by the police. So we are there. That is our playtime, 3, 4, 5:30 when we finish those rehearsals.
Wow. Yeah, I know when we see all of the pomp and circumstance, on TV, it's like the hours of preparation that all of them put in there because the UK, you guys put on the best pomp and
Yes, we do.
opinion. I think it's just amazing as an American. I love to watch it, the pageantry, and of course, trooping the color. And I know that you did some beautiful coverage over on your YouTube channel. You were there on the ground, but I'm sure the energy was so energized this year, especially with our lovely Catherine being able to make a wonderful appearance. So tell us about what you felt there at trooping the color, like when you watch the troops there. Does it make you feel very nostalgic? Makes you want to go march in the parade again with the clearing?
Absolutely. You said that right and correctly. When I'm there, that's why I always make my day free on the day to be able to go down to London, because I live outside of London, slightly about an hour away on the train. But on days like that, I mark them off my calendar, and I sort of tell my people at work that mark me off for these days, because I'm going down to London to do my royal activity. And part of the reason is because when I'm there, it's like I'm taking part myself. The soldiers doing the street lining. The street lining, those soldiers who come and stand on the streets, they are sort of
Yeah.
placed 100 meters away from each other throughout the whole mall. So I used to do a lot of that when our regiment was not the one trooping the color on a given year. So a regiment would be picked to do the street lining. So when I'm stood there and I see the soldiers being brought onto the streets and placed into their positions and stood still, I'm literally going like that. I'm also marching along, you know and it's so brilliant to see how immaculate they look on the day. They
Yes.
are they are buff belts done. Buff belt. This
Yeah.
one
What's that?
here. So
Oh
this one.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So this one here would be a belt that they tie on the tunic. So the red tunic. So this is the one that goes around the waist, and it comes and goes in like the. Okay, so this is a belt for a typical buff belt for an Irish Guards. All regiments have this, so you wear that. And this belt is polished immaculately with white. So on the day, all of these metallic bits are polished and they are all nice and shiny. And at the back, we have a bayonet which runs from here and goes down. So I don't have that. But they would spend in sleepless night doing up these belts to make sure that they are as white as they can be on the day. Because if they are not, you're picked up and you will probably be given a fine of around
Oh, wow.
£300 of your wages for not turning up correctly on the day. And you have all of these cap chains. These should all be polished, looking brilliant and nice and shiny. Okay, so you are inspected in the morning before you step out on that square to go and do the royal activity, to make sure all of you are good to go. And if they pick up on any of these, you haven't done it, the slightest mark they pick up, then you're in trouble, because that's again a fine you'll be paying on your wages that month. And then you have the boots. Okay, these are
Oh
the big.
wow.
Okay, so these are the boots that they march in. So these, you can see how they are still shiny. So
You still keep them very shiny, don't you?
these are all my souvenirs. I will live with these forever. Yes. So these boats, you would spend sleepless nights doing up these boats to make sure that they are all nice and shiny. They've got studs underneath. So these are the ones you would hear making sounds as soldiers march. Left, right. And that sort of thing. So when I go there, I look at how the soldiers turn up and they're wearing these kits. They are looking immaculate. It reminds me of those beautiful days I used to be in. Yeah. But also I get chance to say hello to my comrades, to the commanding officers, to the battalion sergeant majors. These are the officers that used to be our managers, during the time. Most of those are still there. because when you trained as an officer in the British Army or you serve in a higher rank capacity, it's very hard for you to leave because of the pension, and it takes around 40 to 60,000 pounds to train an officer or a company sergeant major. So it's difficult to see them leave, so that they always stay loyal and serve for the army as much as they can. So even now, if I went back during any of these ceremonial duties, like the trooping of the colour, birthday parades, I go down to Wellington Barracks or to the Irish Guards, my regiment, where I served, and say hello to them and see them doing rehearsals. Sometimes I get a chance to do a bit of videos. This is the Irish Guards regiment. This is how they're getting themselves positioned, and that sort of thing. So once a soldier, once a member of the British Army, you will always be part
Always
of
be
them.
one. Tegan wants to know, what is your best memory?
Okay, so my best memory is always going to be William and Catherine's wedding. That one, because the cameras on the day were on William and Kate, and we were literally down there as well. They were up on Buckingham Palace guarding, and we were somewhere down on the square for the fly past. And so those cameras, watching them back, I know that on that day I was somewhere down there, okay, as well. And also Catherine, William, these were young couples at the time. They were loved, they were sweethearts, they were a joy to be around. And these two are made for each other, because to see them play their little games, when they visited battalions and during the rehearsals, and you see them pinching each other, running after each other after making those little jokes behind the scenes.
How funny.
It is things that I will never forget. Very, very memorable for me. And maybe the other memory, which is really bad, is when my best friend got shot in Afghanistan. 3 weeks to him returning for his wedding.
I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
Yes, yeah. So we were always there. He was telling us, "Oh, my wedding, I can't wait." He was in Afghanistan, but you always get about 3-4 minutes on a calling card to call your family back here in the UK. And he would be calling his missus and family, and they're talking about who is going to do the decoration, who is going to do the food, And then 3 weeks to end of our tour, he got shot through his lower abdomen and he died.
Oh,
And that's a bad memory I'm going to live with, because we flew back to go and help with the funeral.
right.
This outfit here I've just shown you, my number 2 dress, carries a lot of both sad and good memories.
That's the thing about life, is we do have our moments that bring us back that are
Yeah,
not so pleasant, but then we have our happy memories as well. And so,
indeed.
and that's just, it is when you become, it's kind of melancholy, but also nostalgia. But you
Yeah,
have so many wonderful, interesting experiences that me as an American, who hasn't served in the military, my dad's a veteran, I think a lot of people are really interested in what you have to say, because you're experiencing behind the scenes, right? Things that we don't understand. And so my question to you is, what do the UK veterans feel about Harry? I know that's kind of a tough topic, but I mean, because I believe in a previous video you said, did you meet Harry before?
yes, I did. I did meet Harry around 3 times during my service, due time in the army. He was a lovely young man. Harry is near enough same age as myself. Okay, so we used to play some games during exercises. And I remember this very one time when we were doing the 2012 London Olympics, which took place in London. There was a bit of a failure on the side of a certain company which was given a contract to manage security systems and CCTVs and the provision of security on the different sites where these games were going to take place. So the government drafted in the British Army to go and do the security. And then, so the Irish Guards were given the rowing games, you know, the rowing on the boats. And so
Yes.
the rowing was done in Eton, Windsor, which is a site very, very near to Windsor Castle. And so while we were there, while we were there in our tent, you know, our tent where we used to form up, and then they would distribute us to the different little corners of the field and around the river where they were doing the rowing. William and Harry popped up, so they came. And of course, at the time, William was the colonel for the Irish Guards. And so he comes in with his brother, Prince Harry, and the tent was massive, and we have all our drinks there, and some little biscuits and some snacks. So Prince William and Harry come in and they say to us, boys, have you had some water? Get some water before you go on duty. So they brought boxes of water. They literally lifted the boxes from the corner where they are. Mineral water, brought it to where we were sat as soldiers. They treated us and thanked us for the good work that we had done over the course of the 2012 London Olympics with providing security. So he was a very positive, kind, friendly, loving guy. And him and his brother were always like that, you know, during those days
Always
when they
joking
used.
with each other. Yeah.
Yes, they used to joke with each other, and they used to sometimes, you know, when Harry stood somewhere there and he sees something interesting, you would see him making a hand signal to William, oh, come and look at this. And then you would see William go across. Yes, but we interacted with them. Actually, if I have seen any member of the British royal family close enough to be able to actually have a chat and shake hands, it's William and Prince Harry.
Wow.
Okay, William and Prince Harry. So I always have memories of those two. And that's why when things went the way they did with Prince Harry, it sort of hurt me so much. And this is what most of my comrades think. You know, I think you see a lot of my videos. Sometimes I'm calling them out because of the behavior they have. Prince Harry throwing everything that he was given, throwing every opportunity he was given to make a difference in the world, and the popularity he had and the power he had to make things great within the British monarchy and across the globe, and throwing all of that away, moving across to United States, and then starting those ridiculous campaigns of bringing down the establishment that made him what he is today.
So the sentiment mostly with a lot of the people that you know who serve with you, they're very disappointed in Harry and how he's turned out.
Very disappointed, and I would say not just the comrades, the soldiers themselves, but even certain officers within the British Army. And I think you've read some stories recently with there's one who is an ex-Royal Navy officer who actually called up Prince Harry and said, listen, this idea of you going to pick up the Pat Tillman Award is, I don't advise you to do that. I think you have to sit that one back. There are people who are more deserving of that award than you are. This is an ex-Navy officer, you know, saying that. But also going back to his spare when he wrote about the soldiers he encountered in Afghanistan, and went ahead and named some of those he had killed. You know, did he say 25 of those? These are values and standards in the army, that there are standards and values that don't allow us to do that. You can never go around and boasting of how many people you have killed and injured, you know, because when we're out on those missions, we go out there with an aim of protecting people. Okay, not killing people. Even the enemies themselves, we used to make sure if we found them shot, the first thing we used to do was to give them first aid. First aid and make sure that they are okay before we take them somewhere and ask why they are doing what they are doing. Okay. But the aim is to protect people. You can't sit there and start boasting around how many people you killed. That's not acceptable. And so this really, really angered so many people within the British Army. And they think Prince Harry did not learn anything as a British Army officer, because he was an officer. He was trained at Sandhurst, but it seems like he didn't learn anything because those values, confidentiality, the norms, everything that he was told seemed to literally go out of Prince Harry the moment he stepped out of the British royal family.
It's almost like he was referring to a video game. I took them off like chess pieces. But then he talks about how he didn't even see the effects of real war until he was on the helicopter on the way home and he saw blood on shoulder on army men. So how did you take off 25 people if you didn't see real battle? So it was a very contradictory statement. And what you're saying is real soldiers don't equate human life to being pieces on a chessboard, right?
I could never say such a thing. Now, I was in an operation zone. I had a weapon system, and at some point, I was a grenade man. Man in charge of grenades. If there is anything, I'm the man to take the orders of launch that grenade. But I can't sit down here and say, hey, you can't. You really can't, because those are values and principles we hold very deeply in our hearts, that we can't start saying things like that. We go there with one aim of protecting people, ensuring everybody's okay. And so those are some of the things that made people start changing their minds about, Prince Harry. That's where we see all the love that they had for this once adorable prince, who was one of the most loved, who nearly eclipsed Queen Elizabeth in being one of the most famous royals in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad to see right now that he sits right below Camilla, in terms of popularity.
Right. It is pretty shocking. He went from being the most beloved to being just above Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
And I'm sure veterans are upset about that, right? Because he talks about how he was a veteran and he kind of wears it like a cloak, but it's like he's not really representing the military in a good light. And he hasn't been a part of the military for what, 10 years?
Yeah, absolutely. And so you would imagine, he would be behaving in a different certain way, which is, very kind, gentle. If you look at every soldier who served in a war in the army, they are very gentle, they are very kind. We have a different perspective to life because we have seen bad things. Now, when people look at me, they kind of ask themselves if really I've actually served in a war zone. I've even ever fired a weapon system. But the army humbles you. It humbles you because you get to know how life is very precious.
Yes.
Okay, you learn to be respectful. You learn to be grateful. And these are values and principles that have since vanished out of Prince Harry. You can't see any gratefulness. All we see is whinging. All we see is they haven't done this
The
for
victim.
me. They're
Mm-hmm.
saying this about me. All of the things that, would not actually be said by. Because we veterans, you see veterans still turning up for big, events. They are lining up during the birthday parades. They're very happy and feel proud, okay, of service. But Prince Harry isn't feeling any proud of, his royal roots, of his heritage. Because if he felt proud, he would be here right now. He wouldn't let somebody he saw just within 6 months to manipulate him and take him away and turn him against his own family when he really knows what his family is, the principles, the values, and the love that he used to get.
What do the people think in the UK of the Invictus Games? Has it lost a lot of its popularity? Because for me,
Mojo.
the thing for me is so heartbreaking is I couldn't tell you one winner of any game of the Invictus Games. I just know Harry and Meghan. And that takes away from the soldiers what is supposed to serve.
Yeah, it's lost its mojo here. It has, and many people now think that this Invictus Games thing is just benefiting Meghan and Prince Harry. And the money that it is raising is not actually well accounted for. They don't see what and where that money is going. And the other very disturbing thing is the fact that they don't even acknowledge that this Invictus Games was not Prince Harry's idea.
Right.
You know, it was an idea which was started by William, Catherine. Okay, they came up with this idea because they wanted, as the royal family, to sort of give Prince Harry some form of identity. Okay, what is he going to do? So, William had got hold of his Earthshot projects, the environment, because he's very passionate. We know he did a degree in geography, so that really suited him very well. And then Catherine went the other way and did early childhood development. She's done her early years projects. So they thought, right, let's give this to Prince Harry to take it on. They even gave him some amount of money initially to run it, to manage, get him going. But when we see these accolades that they are receiving, such as the Pat Tillman Award, and we don't hear any mention of, first and foremost, I'd also like to thank the initial idea, the people who came up with this idea of Invictus Games. That's where people start to lose interest in this whole thing. So it is slowly starting to lose its mojo, I think.
UK, right.
Yes. And they have to be very, very careful where they go next now, because that is Prince Harry's remaining something that he is now holding on to. If he loses that will be him finished, because we all know how the Archwell Foundation is failing to pick up and gain momentum, and we know the problems that the foundation is already facing, recently failing to file those documentation on time, and is an implication of the sort of way they are leading that organization. So they have to start really thinking twice about their next steps with regards to Invictus Games, and they have to start acknowledging people who were the brain behind the Invictus Games. They have to start showing the world that this money is going to the rightful people, and these are the soldiers. And Meghan Markle stopping to always wanting to be at the center of these things, taking this limelight, marching in front of soldiers, and wanting to give speeches and hand over medals. No, that moment should be for the wounded soldiers. Okay. So
when she marched in front of them, that was so upsetting. When she marched in front of them in those little booty shorts, I was like, oh my God. And Harry was in the back. Harry was all the way in the back, and here's Meghan in the front. I'm like, you're not even a veteran. Why are you marching in the front? That makes zero sense. And now I think we've heard that, I believe the CEO of Invictus has quit. So I think this is having a lot of problems right now. But I want to tell everyone, thank you all so much for joining us. We have Poor Francis has been here for over an hour. So before we leave, we're going to open up some questions. You guys have had some questions for lovely Francis. So the first question is from Susan Reich. She says, where is Francis born?
Okay, so I'm an East African man. So East Africa is a big region in Africa. It comprises of Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, So I happen to have been born in one of the smallest countries of East Africa, and that's Uganda.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and I traveled quite a few within East Africa, growing up in nearby Kenya, and later on finding my way into the United Kingdom for studies. And after studies, this opportunity popped up to serve for the British Army, because East Africa is a member of the British Commonwealth, and all the Commonwealth citizens then uh, were meeting the criteria for all those that wanted to join the British Army. So,
Wow,
yes.
I did not know that. So you were from East Africa and then you came over to the UK. So what do you
Yes.
think about Meghan proclaiming herself to be 43% Nigerian?
Meghan, Meghan Markle doesn't know where she belongs. I should say
Oh,
that.
that's right.
Yes, because a few years ago she claimed she was around 25% Maltese, and she wanted to go and search for her Maltese heritage, and she was all over Malta. You know, my parents have their roots here. She was very fascinated about Malta, but she since forgot that, and now she became 43% Nigerian. I think she
Right,
is a very seasonal girl. She does things depending on what's going on in the season and where their projects will be going next. Because there is an idea that Invictus Games at some point will be held somewhere in Nigeria. And
right.
so all of these plans of claiming their part of Nigeria in some way is to try and build relationships with these regions before they actually start doing business there.
Mm-hmm.
And Meghan Markle is a very clever, cunning, I should say cunning word. She always comes across as wanting to be clever, because she did international relations. And international relations in here supposes that if you're going to engage in some activity, business, or anything, any relationship of some sort, you've got to start making actionable steps. Some of those steps include you claiming that you actually have some form of ground or heritage in that location.
Well, she
And
showed she
then
had no manners in Nigeria. The way that she cut in front of Harry to get the gift, and the poor man had to put Harry's necklace on her, and you could tell he was awkward because he knew he was putting Harry's necklace on Meghan, and then afterwards she's like, "Oh, okay." And then she takes it off. Like you would never see Catherine or any other royal, right, or a woman who's supposed to be a diplomat, the way that that Meghan says she is. Her manners are atrocious. The way she acted in Nigeria. Did you see some of those clips? The way that she would just cut in front of Harry when he was getting the gifts, like she couldn't wait. It's so embarrassing how she doesn't have any class, and yet she tells everyone how she knows all these languages and she's very cultured, right? But she's not. She's very, very embarrassing.
she's very embarrassing. And let me say this, because I'm known to be a royal commentator who is
Yes.
very interested in royal protocol. And when you look at the foundation of my TikToks, I speak a lot about royal protocol. The first TikToker who actually magnified this principle of royal protocol and royals behaving in a certain way, uh, that has to that that is in a certain way that is acceptable. And then I called out royals who were not behaving in that way. So we could see Catherine most of the time during those engagements with Prince William. She is shaking hands after William has done. Now that's royal protocol. She's a consort. William is going to be the king, so he comes first in all of those things. Even if it's at an occasion, a ceremony, and they are leaving, you can't see. You are not allowed to move before the king or the heir or the senior royal leaves or waves to say, okay, we've closed this engagement. You can't do that. It's always in an order where the senior does those actions first. But Meghan failed in that. And it's one of the reasons he couldn't actually he couldn't stay in the British royal family because she couldn't manage to follow those rules. She was always caught off guard. She had a different mindset of, right, okay, we are living in the 21st century, equality, all of that sort of thing, not knowing that she had come to an organization where traditions still hold the family. Okay. And she is still married to Prince Harry, who is, fifth in the line of succession. So he's a royal, and she is still supposed to behave. She's supposed to follow royal protocol in some way because Prince Harry is still a prince. So when they go on those engagements, for as long as they are still introduced as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, like we see them being introduced most of the times, she is supposed to be following after Prince Harry. We should see Prince Harry taking the lead in those projects, rather than seeing Meghan Markle wanting to bulldoze over Prince Harry to hand medals off, stopping people from hugging Prince Harry. She needs to give Prince Harry space because Harry is the royal. She's only there because she's married to Harry, but she actually holds no status at all.
Right.
Okay.
Egan says, when will Francis do the tour? He mentioned to Paula M. Would love to see where my father-in-law was. Yeah, I think you were talking about doing some kind of behind-the-scenes footage.
Yes, I did. Yeah. So Buckingham Palace, I meant, because I will be, because usually Buckingham Palace is open to the public during the summer period. And good news, actually, many people will get to go inside Buckingham Palace and have a look at the balcony, although they won't be allowed on the balcony itself, but they can take a peep through the curtains and they can see the route that royals take as they come to get through those Buckingham Palace balcony doors. So, but yes, I talked about doing that tour with Paula. It is still on program. I've been extremely busy recently because most of you know me as a royal reporter, but I'm actually a careers coach. So I work with a number of colleges in the area, helping their students build successful careers, helping them write CVs, employability skills, building leadership skills, and that sort of thing. So I'm always very busy during term time.
Right.
But since we are now getting into the summer holidays, which have actually started today, I will get in touch with Paula and we can arrange something of a sort where I will go into Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle and show you the garden party gardens and get to show you some of those areas in Buckingham Palace where I can gain access to.
My cat's name is Karen. I love that name. Does Francis get any backlash for speaking out about this? I'd love to see him do mainstream.
Okay, so I don't get any backlash here because there's freedom of speech, first and foremost. And these things we're speaking about, these people, for example, Meghan and Harry, things everybody sees, they read all of this in the media every day. And it's good because through calling out these people, we are helping them to see that they need to change. But also we are supporting the British royal family to make sure that these people who are pulling it apart through their fail, and they will fail because we love the British monarchy. It is within our right to fight for it, to see that we stop everybody who goes up against them in one way or the other. And this is a channel, this is a platform we all have to voice our own opinions.
That's right.
Yeah.
Effie Clinker wants to know your opinion on removing the titles. I'm assuming the Duke and Duchess of Sussex title. Do you think that's going to happen, or if it's going to make a difference?
Okay, so not at least during King Charles's reign, I think, because the debates are ongoing in the parliament. We know that the king has the powers and they can do that at some point. However, there is this arrangement that the king has to work with the parliament to sort of sort issues to do with the titles. But during King Charles's reign, I'm thinking that is not going to happen because King Charles is a father to Prince Harry. He still wants to see him survive out there in some sort. And if he takes these titles away from him, that will be the end of Prince Harry. And as a father, they know what Prince Harry has gone through in the past with his mental health. If it flares up, we could see a different Prince Harry. So they know that if they take those titles, that could contribute to Prince Harry's mental well-being. So for now, I think they are going to have to put those restrictions on what they cannot do with those titles. Although we've seen on many occasions Meghan and Harry bypassing those restrictions. But what the royal family will start to do maybe is to enforce those restrictions a bit more, and then start taking smaller steps, towards relieving them of those titles. Maybe in the future, and this maybe will happen with Prince William, because we know how he's a little bit when it comes to
right. A lot of people do believe that William is going to be the enforcer. And I did a video a couple of weeks back talking about how, William is definitely the power behind the throne. He is acting more and more since his father is doing, a little bit less due to his illness. And that a lot of people believe that he's going to cut it off. And I don't blame him. I mean, he has to do that to protect his family, the monarchy. Like you said, there's so much royal protocol and tradition. And we're now living in a time where people want to end that, which is so sad. It's like, wow, you're one of the few countries who has a monarchy. It brings in a lot of money and a lot of pride and a lot of patriotism. And I know you guys have a new prime minister now, and it's interesting. It's the third prime minister under King Charles in under 2 years. And
yes.
I heard this prime minister is not a royalist, right? He's not a fan of the royals. So could that be bad news for Harry and Meghan with his royal protection?
Okay. So
right?
the
whole worms there.
Yeah, that's very interesting actually that you talk about the new prime minister. Yeah, he's not more into the royal family, but this is the thing. If you're going to be a prime minister, you're going to serve under the monarch. King Charles is still the head of state.
That's right.
He has to allow himself to love the royal family, the royal traditions, come what may. He's serving the people, he's serving people's interests, not his. So he has to go by people's, interests, the prime minister I'm talking about. So we can't see him doing anything that is going to harm the royal family or starting up a campaign of stopping this monarch sort of system of governance, because people here still love the royal family. The British people still like us to have this system of governance where the king is still the head of state. And we also know how so much Britain thrives on having these cooperative establishments and relationships with the countries like Australia, Canada, all of those, Commonwealth states. This is where our wealth in terms of cooperation, business, people relationships, this is where we see, this is what makes Great Britain strong. And people know that. But we still have certain sections of people, Republicans, but these are the very few who we see turning up with the yellow flags. You are not my king. You are not my
I
king.
saw the protesters.
Yeah.
Lord.
But these are very few people actually. When you come here on ground and when you look at how people celebrate these big royal events, the birthday parades, people having flags and pictures of the king, the queen, William and Kate. The royal family is here to stay. Be strong, guys. We've got this. We've got this.
And I remember when I was watching your live that you did with Paula, it was hilarious because you were out there and you interviewed this young guy and he said, "Not my king." It was really funny. The funny thing is I heard that some of these protesters, of course, no offense, but a lot of them are really young people, but a lot
Yeah.
of the protesters were people who didn't even care. They were just trying to do something. They wanted to make a ruckus, and so they ended up getting with the protesters, and they weren't even really protesters, right? They just wanted to be out there and cause a ruckus. And it was hilarious when you said it to the guy, and he's like, "Not my king," and you laughed it off because I don't even think those people really come on. And the thing that cracked me up is I have a picture of them, and they had like this weird spacing when they were
Yeah.
holding up "Not My King," and it was like misspelled. And then
Yeah.
it's like, they went to Buckingham Palace because they thought they were doing a thing. I'm like, didn't you pay to go into Buckingham Palace? So you literally just put money in the king's pocket, and then you sat there
Exactly.
with your misspelled signs. I was like, oh my god.
Exactly. And you know what? Some of these people who are saying, "You're not my king," because we didn't see that with Queen Elizabeth. So most of these would be people who have certain sentiments against King Charles because of what we know, King Charles' sort of history with Princess Diana and then Camilla. So they have that sort of inkling on King Charles. And so this whole issue of "You're not my king" is coming from that sort of relationship they have had with Charles right from when he was a prince coming into the king. But trust me, when this throne transcends onto William and Catherine, all of that is going to disappear.
Right. And like I said, the thing is, I think King Charles is doing a brilliant job. I know there's a lot of critics out there, but the monarchy is going. It's still strong. Unfortunately, we've had some mishaps with Princess Anne, but I've heard she's now returning a little bit to royal duties. And I believe William and Catherine are on a summer break. But I
Yeah.
think in the fall, we're going to start seeing hopefully more of Catherine, more of King Charles, more of the royal family. I think they just announced King Charles is now touring. Is it Australia? I believe he's
Yes.
going to Australia. He has cancer, but he's still going on. I adore King Charles, but I think King William. Oh, we're all looking forward to that. I think he's
Yes.
brilliant, and he reminds me so much of Diana. His
Mm.
is so much like Diana. He's very strong, and of course, the beautiful Wales's children. We all see a lot of the Queen and our lovely Princess Charlotte. So I do believe the royal genes are just going to keep going on. The tradition's going to keep going on, and we don't need
It's,
to worry about our royal family.
you don't have to worry. Don't worry. This Meghan and Prince Harry is a wave of some sort. That wave will come to pass. Okay? There is no strong wave that the royal family has ever had stronger than what Princess Diana was. The wave that Princess Diana, sort of carried with her. And that's the point they thought, right, this could maybe be the end of it for the royal family. But if the royal family was able to overcome that Princess Diana wave, then this Meghan and Harry is
Yeah,
just another sort of wave they are going to overcome as well. I can see Prince Harry coming back in the near future
right,
to
right.
here. I can see him coming back to the UK. And I can see, because we also know where things are going with elections in United States. I think
Oh,
we know Trump and how he's always called out Meghan and Harry for their behavior against the British royal family. So somehow, somewhere, if he gets in, maybe Harry, and Meghan might have some difficult time in United States. And we could see Prince Harry come back here. There are sources telling us he's busy looking for a place to buy
right.
here because he wants to have a home of that
His
sort.
children, I think. I think it's
Yeah,
really important for Harry to have some of his roots.
yeah,
The UK. I think Harry does miss his family, but unfortunately, he's just made some very unfortunate choices and burned a lot of bridges. Lana says she was at trooping and there wasn't many protesters there, but the few that were had massive flags to grab maximum attention. Yeah, I mean, I think they only do it for attention,
yeah.
apparently. But I did have an interesting question for you. Someone wanted to know if you had any intel. Why did Prince William visit, was it M5 before the trooping? Is this a normal thing that a royal would do?
Yeah, it's normal.
Okay.
It's used, these things used to happen quite a lot behind the scenes, but nowadays with where we are moving with King Charles's monarch, I mean reign, we are seeing them being more transparent, doing things now, and letting us into the behind the scenes. So you saw the other day before they went down for the coronation, and the behind the scenes, you saw the state opening of parliament, the behind the scenes, King Charles letting us into his health situation with the cancer. You would never see that happen with a monarch. They would never release those details. Catherine, Princess of Wales. So this Prince William's visit to MI5 was also another sort of just checking in, because security is very important in the country. And, the king, of course, is the head of state. So all of these big organs would very much sit under him. And on some occasions, if he can't visit himself, he sends the heir to the throne, who is his
Right.
assistant, to go and.
Normal.
Yeah, but it's very normal. So let people not worry about that at all.
Right.
Okay.
And the other day, Camilla and King Charles had a security scare. Did you see that? She was sitting there eating ice cream, and they had
Yeah.
to take the queen away because there was an unidentified, was it a person on a roof? Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Like, this is
So
so scary.
So we've had a few of those moments. There is a lot of mental health issues going on in London.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, and we have so many other fanatics who want to take things to the extreme. So
Mhm.
you will have people doing weird things. The other day we have someone breaking to Windsor Castle wanting to shoot the Queen. I think,
Right.
but he was apprehended. He was arrested. That was far back before Queen Elizabeth passed.
Oh,
Um,
yes, that one gentleman with the crossbow.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
And we had
Yeah.
another person broke into the steeples, I think last year.
Yeah, was it last year?
Yeah.
Yes. So we have those things happening, but it's just mental health issues going on, and some of those people actually, when they are properly checked, they are then sanctioned under the Mental Health Act. Um, but these people, the royals here, are very, very well protected. They are loved. Prince Harry goes on about, I need security to visit UK, and my wife is suing the government for police security and all of that sort of thing. That is all crap, because Harry, when he's here, has access to the best security ever. He's amongst royals and dignitaries. So what sort of security does he need than the security that is available to guard all these other dignitaries on these functions when he comes back here? So, but this is all Prince Harry, wanting to show that he's very special as we know him, and some of these occasions just wanting to steal the spotlight, because he knows when he comes, he's gonna be in the papers everywhere, headlines and all of. Sometimes it's not even required to be here because he can do video interviews, but he chooses to come. For those court sessions, we know that he's battling with regards to police security. But be okay. The royal family is going to stay. I know, because as a royalist and somebody who served before, I'm doing a lot of groundwork. I walk around quite a lot. I visit these palaces every day. We see that the plans that are being set up for the royal family are plans that are going to see the royal family stay until God knows. We want to see Prince George become heir to the throne
Yeah.
at some point.
I'm so excited for the future royals. I call them the Fab Five, the Waleses, but I think they're doing a phenomenal job considering everything that is happening. And I just want to thank you for stopping by my channel. You've been amazing. You've given us an encyclopedia of a glimpse of what it's like to be a royal soldier. I mean, just the stories you have are so fascinating. We could talk for hours just on your experiences.
Oh, we can indeed. And it's been an honor coming on this show, Michelle. You know how much you inspire me a lot.
Oh,
Yeah, when I started my channel, I think I first came across yours, and then we stumbled on TikTok. And
Yeah.
you are a source of inspiration, and how you guys, you, Paula, Sue Smith, and a
Mhm.
range of other royal commentators, paid dinner across there. We have According to Taz. All of you are doing an incredible job of flying that flag of the British royal family across the Atlantic. Keep up the great work you're doing.
Yes, we love our royals. We love our royals. And we do have a wonderful Megxit community. We have a lot of wonderful creators here. And there's a lot of different people with different views, but I think everyone here is on the same mission to educate and entertain. But you have a lot of information to share. So I'm so glad that I met you on TikTok. You've been such a lovely person. And I'm so glad finally we got to do a live together. So if y'all, I'll have a link for his channel. It's Francis Page Media. He is also on TikTok and he's on YouTube as well. So Francis,
Yes.
tell us what we can expect, what's coming up on your channel.
Pardon?
Can you tell us an upcoming video or something we can expect to see on your upcoming YouTube?
Okay, yes. So I do a lot of live streams these days
That's right.
with one of my good friends in Australia. I think she's on. I don't know if she
Is it
is
a
because I got
Royal Lots? I think I saw her.
yes,
Her. She's
yes, yeah. So
amazing. Yes, right.
yes. So
Love
she,
her.
yes, yeah. There she is. Yes. Hi, Catherine. Yes. So she is incredible, and she's got her channel as well, Arroyo Iota. Excuse me, Michelle. I've passed this through.
Well, no, that's okay. If she has a YouTube channel, I'll be more than happy to share. I do believe
Yes.
her Instagram or TikTok. She's amazing.
She's amazing. She's carrying our flag across the pond in Australia. So we come on every now and then to do these live streams where we do a bit of catching up in what is going on in our Royals world. But I also tend to pop up sporadically with little insights on what big stories have been trending. I talk a lot about Meghan and Harry,
Yeah.
Prince William and Catherine, and that sort of thing. So just expect a video any day this weekend. I'll be going live with Catherine and maybe sitting back to watch your live stream, Michelle, to see how things have played up with us
Thank
today.
you. Yeah, I got a couple of videos I got to do this week. But I just
Yeah,
want to thank you for stopping by. I'm so glad we finally got to connect. I hope we can do this again. And I want
indeed.
to thank everyone for their lovely comments. Make sure you go over and check out Francis Page Media. He does wonderful, positive news on the Royals, and he calls out Harry and Meghan as well.
Absolutely.
All right,
Thank
thank you
you.
guys. Happy Friday. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend.
And you. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Bye.